Well, hello, folks. It's me, and Chester. Chester's gotta practically trip over me on the way to go under the bed in his little cave. uh, yeah. I actually meant to be on here way earlier, and I know I sound like a broken record because lately I've been saying that a lot. Yeah, I did not mean to come on here like right before midnight, but here we are. I am on here right before midnight, at least midnight Central Time. And yeah, the title of the stream is Crusaders Cringe. Um, I don't mean for it to sound very sensational or anything. The title actually comes from um, a a post on Reddit that I was sent. Uh, I was sent by a friend because it's about my part in the documentary. Um, as you can guess, by the fact that the word cringe is in the title, or not the title, the word cringe was in the post, that it was not really a favorable post about what I did in the documentary. And this comes with the territory. This is just part of the job, so to speak. Um, I'm not like angry or anything that that somebody said that my protest was cringy, or no, that's not what they said. I'll read you exactly what they said in just a moment here. I completely forgot to pull it up. Um, but yeah, they didn't say that I was cringy. I think what they said was that it made them cringe. Um, let's see here. Here we go. I'm gonna read it off real quick. Just to read it off. Uh, the title is Crusaders Duck Interrupting Meetings and Protesting in Front of Conventions. And it's tagged with activism. Well, at least they got it right. It is activism. Uh, yeah. So it says, I wanted to start off by saying I really enjoyed watching the doc. The only thing I wanted to point out, though, is seeing a meeting being interrupted and the protest in front of a convention made me cringe a little. This type of protest just feeds into their narrative. There is in all caps. I remember being a little girl and walking up to the convention in Long Beach, seeing the angry protesters yelling, and it scared me. I thought, yeah, apostates are scary. Apostates is in quotes, by the way. When I was older, a local hall was interrupted, and two people were escorted out of the hall and just looked crazy to the rest of us. I don't have a better solution, but I do think YouTube videos and having this Reddit does far, far more than the above. Right, so let's get back over here. Yeah, so, um, the comments have mostly people, I think, agreeing with this person, but there are a few people in there who, try to reason with them and, give a different perspective on things. Um, but yeah, first thing I want to mention about what they posted is that, you know, seeing the protesters confirm to them that apostates are scary, because they were angry and yelling. I have my own experience as a child. Actually, I have two experiences, just like them. One is a really small child, where somebody burst into the hall and was screaming in Spanish and was very angry. Um, and then another one when I was older, when I was 17, and I was like, you know, I was trying to be a good witness and stuff, but I was honestly like, I had doubts. I always had doubts. There was not a time I think that I didn't have some kind of doubt or have some sense that something was wrong. So yeah, in that instance, when I was 17, I was on the way into the Kingdom Hall with my Bible study teacher and her husband, because they were the ones who were giving me rides to the meeting at that time, because the rest of my family wasn't going. So yeah, I was on the way into the hall, and across the street like literally across the street. They weren't even on the same sidewalk as the Kingdom Hall. Across the street were a couple of protesters holding up signs, and I was able to read one sign. It said, "Read the Bible, not the Watchtower." And I remember thinking, well, we do read the Bible, though. I mean, like, we literally read it every meeting. uh, too much, I thought. I was like, we read it way too much. Of course, this was me not realizing that no, we actually read a lot of crap out of context, um, and that a lot of things are twisted. So, yeah, I didn't realize that yet. Um, but yeah, read the Bible, not the Watchtower, right? At least it was memorable. I mean, I'm 34 now, and I was 17 back then, and I still remember what it said. Um, and it makes a good point. It makes a good point. It's basically trying to tell you, at least I understand now, that it was trying to tell me that the Watchtower like is an unnecessary component to Bible study. You don't need the Watchtower to study the Bible. You need the Bible to study the Bible. Um, and I know that now, and it makes sense now. Um, the Watchtower was just a tool to corrupt what was, uh, actually being said in the Bible. Whether or not you believe what's in the Bible, inconsequential to this. It's the fact, though. Um, for instance, if I had a science book, right, and I had a little pamphlet that insisted that I read it, but like use little excerpts from the science book, to confirm whatever they were saying in the pamphlet, it would be kind of like that. And the science book may actually be true, and have facts and be totally accurate. Um, but you can totally corrupt what's being said in the science book by using cherry-picked bits out of the science book to back up, certain statements that are being said in the pamphlet, and it's the same thing. So, yeah. Anyway, those were my two experiences to parallel with these two experiences that they shared. Um, yeah. So, I mean, it's a dissenting view, and I understand where they're coming from. Apostates are scary, right? Like, that's what they're taught. I would be very surprised, honestly, if as a little girl the person did not think that apostates were scary. That's literally drilled into you, from day one. Um, I wasn't really afraid of apostates. Even when I was a kid, what actually scared me about that person bursting into the hall, what actually scared me was, you know, what happened to them to make them so upset. They're upset at who they're upset at the elders and at the other brothers in the Kingdom Hall. Why? I thought, why are they upset? Oh, hey, you came over from the Facebook page. Nice to see you. Um, yeah. So sorry, I'm talking about a Reddit post that I saw that somebody sent me. Um, yeah. So as a kid, I was thinking like, why is that person so angry at the brothers in the Kingdom Hall? Like, what did the brothers do to make them so upset? That's what my thinking was. It wasn't, man, that person's really scary. I don't want them to come near me. I was just like, whoa, whoa, what happened here? Like, what did they do? Did the brothers do something bad? Um, and I think that should illustrate to you, who's anybody who's listening to this now or in the future. You know, not everybody thinks the same. Not everybody's thought processes are going to be the same. Um, which is why, like I've said in the past, all forms of activism are valid. Not one method is going to be right for everybody. Not one method is going to reach everybody. Um, and honestly, like somebody in this Reddit post comment section pointed out, pretty much all types of activism have the potential to frighten Jehovah's Witnesses or to, you know, to kind of put them in a state of, wanting to drown out whatever you're trying to say to them, like to deny it. Like even if you present them with like, a video of somebody just pointing out uh, flaws in the watchtower where they're speaking calmly and they're dressed nicely and they're completely non-threatening or whatever. Not that I feel like I was very threatening in the Kingdom Hall. Uh, um, but, like let's just say, you present them with a video or you present them with a piece of literature that points out all these points about how Watchtower is wrong, basically, or at least how their doctrine is wrong. They're gonna do exactly what my grandma has done to me in the past, which is, nope, I'm not even going to look at that. That's apostate. That's it's lies, and I don't want to look at it. I have no desire to look at that. So I mean, that, like I said, it doesn't, you know, just because somebody's not, you know, crashing a hall, if you want to call it that. I call it a protest now. You know, just because somebody decides to like show somebody information outside of the Kingdom Hall or hold up a sign, across the street, uh, doesn't mean that they're gonna listen to that either. Like it's very it's just it's subjective, you know. Everybody has, you know, their own way that they're gonna be reached. For me, if somebody had crashed my hall like, when I was older, if I hadn't seen the sign across the street, if they had come into the hall and done a crash, or a protest, whatever you wish to call it, um, I would have been curious. I personally would have, gone home, and if I had to do it in secret, I would have done it in secret. I would have gone home and I would have looked into what they were saying. I would have been like, child abuse? Wait, hold on. And then I would have typed that in and I would have been looking it up, or I would have been looking through, you know, Watchtower Library for, articles where they're saying stuff, that sounds really bad, like the stuff that gets mentioned a lot. I mean, I remember seeing when I was 26, a Watchtower when I was actually attending meetings because I was just trying to, get back in contact with my family. I remember seeing a Watchtower that we were supposed to study that said to treat your family, who are disfellowshipped, like they're dead, to treat them as though they're dead. And I was like, that's awful. Like, that's, first of all, that's a horrible way to put that. Like, I think if you want people to do that, you would think they would state it in a nicer way. Like, oh, you want to distance yourself from them and not, you know, not engage in any contact or, encourage any kind of contact with them because it's bad for you. It's unhealthy for your spiritual health or whatever. But no, they just straight up said like, yeah, treat them like they're dead. That's harsh. And that was jarring enough to kind of, to make me second guess like maybe this is a bad choice that I'm making here. Like I know that I wasn't planning on being a fully indoctrinated witness. I was just going to be like a fringe witness that, didn't actually go out in service or anything and basically just got baptized to hang out with my family. But like, that gave me pause. I was like, hmm, like, is this the future that I'm looking at for myself? Am I going to be treated like I'm dead? And yes, I am treated like I'm dead. Um, in some cases by other ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, which is interesting. Um, so yeah, I think it's a little bit, um, just a little bit misguided to think that Kingdom Hall protests don't have their place in activism. They do. Um, and this person is obviously basing this off of their own personal experience. Now, later on in the comments section, they start pointing out that like, you know, oh no, I know for a fact that people wouldn't look this stuff up because I saw that younger people weren't looking stuff up, whatever. They bring up other instances to back up their, their assumptions about things. But the fact is, Kingdom Hall protests do work. Now, again, I'm not claiming that they work for everybody. They do not work for everybody. No method works for everybody. YouTube videos don't work for everybody. Literature doesn't work for everybody. Just directly trying to reason with them doesn't work for everybody. And all of those have the potential to push somebody, quote unquote, push somebody deeper into their indoctrination, or to scare them off, or to make them, further deny everything. All of those do. Why? Because they're taught to be like that. They are taught to push away anything that could cause them cognitive dissonance. They're taught to do that. So yeah, let's see here. Yeah, so the thing that I didn't like in the comments section, like like I said, there are people that were more people than anything that were actually agreeing with this person, which is fine. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I mean, I think that they're all a little misinformed and a little bit misguided because they don't have any experience doing this the way I have. I've been doing this for years. And I do have success with this. Like, there have been plenty of people who have contacted me and told me that I helped them to wake up. So I know that it works. Again, not for everybody, but I know that it works. And it may not be immediate. I don't expect it to be. But I know that it plants seeds. And that's the whole point. But yeah. Anyway, the thing that I didn't like in the comments section was, like I mentioned in my last stream, the one person who was intentionally misgendering me just to be mean. They left a okay, somebody had commented talking about me, and they accidentally said, they accidentally must have referred to me as she, and then somebody went in and corrected that person. Thank you to whoever you were. I appreciate that. That's really nice of you. But then another person comes in and it's like, hold on. I want to read it because it's not very nice. Like, well, what's the point in this? That's not cool. Yeah, I just don't understand the point of doing stuff like that to people. So yeah, the original comment was, I wouldn't advise anyone to do this, but I respect the hell out of him for doing it. Well, they must have said I respect the hell out of her for doing it originally, but somebody corrected them, and they edited their comment. And they end their comment with, every person in that congregation has no fucking excuse now. So yeah, the person after that corrects them with him. And then a different person entirely from those two people comes in and says, nah, it's okay to be confused. She mentioned it and it took her a very long time to realize it. Probably will take me longer. LOL. Yeah, is that really necessary? Like, does that make you feel good to insist on being wrong? Like, I mean, you're wrong. It just kind of makes you look like you enjoy being wrong, I guess. I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't change the fact that I'm me and that I identify the way I do. It just makes you look like you don't understand basic pronoun usage, but okay. And yeah, the same person who corrected the original person, who took it well, by the way, and didn't have a problem being corrected. Yeah, the same person that did the original correction was like he and corrected this person. And then the original commenter said, "Yep, my mistake. Fixed it. Thanks for pointing that out." But yeah, like what is the point in that? Like, everybody else, like, I have no problem with people giving their 2 cents. Again, even though a lot of it I think is a little misguided and misinformed or underinformed even. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. It would be nice if people would would actually talk to me about it so that I could, give my reasoning on stuff. I mean, I probably am going to go into this thread later and talk to them about it, just so that I can give them a little bit of perspective on why this is why this is done by me, and um, how, yes, I actually do have experience with it working, and that it may make them cringe, but honestly, I think that says a little bit more about them than it does about me. Uh, I mean, I don't cringe when I see people speaking up for abused children. I think the cringe, honestly, and this is just my opinion, I think that the cringe is leftover reaction uh, that you kind of have if you are a witness. Like, it's that leftover, like, ooh, like that freaked out feeling, that uncomfortable feeling that you get as a witness from seeing somebody storm into the Kingdom Hall, even though I didn't storm into the Kingdom Hall. I just walked in there. I got up. I walked to the front. I said a few things. The elders swarmed me and violently dragged me out of there, even though I wasn't hurting anybody. These people were also saying in the comments, multiple people were saying that I was traumatizing children. Um, I don't see how, but sure, maybe let's go ahead and say that maybe me walking into the Kingdom Hall traumatizes them. Um, what's worse, me coming in there and you know saying a few words and momentarily making them feel uncomfortable, or them actually being in danger in a child abusing, protecting cult? Which one is worse? I mean, I'm not going to hurt the children. In fact, usually when I crash, or well, I don't call it crashing anymore. I keep calling it that. Usually when I protest, I will address the children. That's something I started doing in the last several crashes that protests that I did. Is I addressed the children directly. I would tell them, children, um, if you're being harmed, report it to somebody. Tell a teacher. Tell somebody you trust, and reach out for help. There are people out there who can help you, and you don't have to live with this. I don't think that that would scare children, hearing that kind of a message. If I were to have heard something like that when I was a child, I would have actually felt hopeful. It would have hit me really, really, you know, really well. Like, I would have been so thrilled to find out that, somebody does know about what's going on in the organization, that there are people aware on the outside, and that they do want to help us. That would make me feel great. Um, because I was, victimized in the cult in plenty of different ways that perhaps I will talk about someday in more detail. But yeah, I was being victimized in the cult, and if somebody had come in with that sort of message, it wouldn't have scared me. I would be more scared that they were being hauled away. You know, I would be scared to be left alone, with them outside. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm going to read the comments now. Yes, it's very difficult to confront those groups with any kind of logic or questions. Oh my god, yes, treating loved ones alive like they are dead. It's the hardest thing. My physically and mentally and family has told Jehovah's Witnesses since 2008 that I'll be back one day, but it's 2021 and I'm never going back. You're he. I understand great about your transformation from now versus the documentary. Thank you. HLC barging into a hospital room with the wrong information is the worst. Next worst is the JW kid that got a blood transfusion as a kid, and then grew up to be an elder and stands in that hospital room as an HLC saying no blood. Yeah, that's also really horrible. It's my firm stance that that raising a child as a Jehovah's Witness is child abuse. Period. Like, you know, I'm not one of those people who thinks you have to have been like, you know, beaten every day or, you know, assaulted in a certain way that I don't want to mention every single day of your life as a Jehovah's Witness child to have been to be considered to have been abused. I think that if you were raised in the cult, period, you were subjected to abuse. That is a form of abuse. The very way that you raise a child as a Jehovah's Witness is a form of abuse. So, you know, honestly, if the children are traumatized by somebody coming in and telling the truth, I think the fault of that really lies more with the parents and, you know, and the cult environment that they're raised in, because they're taught fear. They're taught to fear people that mean them no harm. They are taught that fear of apostates. You know, so yeah, if that traumatizes them, it's because they were taught to be traumatized by it. I'm sorry. Like, I don't go in there waving a gun or any sort of weapon. I don't go in there shouting obscenities at the people and telling them that they're all horrible and that they're, you know, that they should die for what they've done or anything like that. I go in there with love in my heart and with the utmost concern, particularly for the children, and I want to let them know what's going on because I have you know, every reason to believe that a lot of them are having information withheld from them, and they are. And yeah, I just yeah, I don't know. I think, you know, I understand where these people are coming from who think that it's bad, you know, cringy, that it makes them cringe when they see me crash the hall or protest the hall. um, but it's not done with any kind of malice. It's not done thinking that I'm going to wake up everybody in the hall. Confrontation does wake people up, by the way. Somebody in that thread said confronting the witnesses doesn't wake them up, and that this is not the way to wake them up. Their consensus seems to be that, you know, if this is something that I feel I need to do for me personally, for closure or to work through my own trauma, then that's fine. But that if I'm doing it to wake people up, it's not fine because it's not going to work. First of all, you guys just said that I'm traumatizing children by doing this. So it's okay for me to traumatize children just to work through my trauma. It's okay for me to traumatize children, you know, for my own personal closure, but it's not okay for me to traumatize children in the name of trying to get them out safely. Like that, I don't understand. That makes no sense. I'm sorry. Um, but it doesn't matter because I'm really don't believe that I'm traumatizing children. I believe that their parents have traumatized them 100%. But yeah, it's just something I wanted to talk about because you know, I expected people to disagree with what I do. I even expected people to, you know, to do the misgendering thing and to, you know, to say that I'm the one bad part of the the documentary. I expected as much. Like I said, it comes with the territory. It's it's not for everybody. It's I don't know why it is, but it's controversial. Um, I don't believe it should be controversial. It's it's civil disobedience. It's not anything violent or out of hatred. I don't go in there yelling at them, in a mean way or anything. And actually, the funny thing is, it sounds like I'm yelling in the video, but that's only because the microphone is literally strapped to my body, and I'm holding my phone very close to me. Um, it's not. I don't. I'm not a loud person. Like, I'm really soft spoken, and that's partly because of my own trauma. Like, I'm not a very loud person. Um, so I have to actively work to be, projecting my voice when I do these crashes. So I try to be loud, but I highly doubt that, like, the majority of people in the hall are hearing me. Remember, and I think I've tried to mention this last time. Remember, the one time that you're in the Kingdom Hall and somebody's trying to give a comment, but then the mic breaks or shuts off randomly, and then all of a sudden it's like you can barely hear them, you know? And it's not like they're super far away from you. It's just that's how it works. That's how acoustics work. Um, so yeah, I'm not even yelling. That's the thing. Like, I raise my voice as much as I can without sounding scary or intimidating. But yeah, again, I don't think I'm traumatizing these children any more than their parents have, and I don't think it's traumatizing to tell children that they can get help outside of the organization. I think it's quite the opposite. I think it's that it's validating to them and they feel seen and heard, and that's good. And I wish somebody had done that for me. And one last thing about these comments and stuff is I noticed that a lot of these people base this off of their own experiences. I know that if somebody did that in my hall, I would think they were crazy and I wouldn't listen to them and I would just be more indoctrinated. Um, that's just you, you know? You can only speak for yourself. You can't speak for everybody else in the Kingdom Hall. And again, I'm going to keep repeating this until people, remember this. Like, I have gotten messages from people who reached out to me telling me that my protest woke them up, that they looked into things because of the things that I went in there and I said. And these people in the comments over there on that Reddit thread, for some reason, the idea of only waking up one or two people is not worth it to them. It's worth it to me. Um, I was one person in the Kingdom Hall once, by myself. I didn't have my family with me, so I was just the one that was there. And it was worth it to me. It saved my life. Um, and I think it's worth it because, not only because you may just be saving one person, but because that one person could go on to save more people. Like by getting their family out, or getting their friends out, or telling others, or doing their own type of activism. It's absolutely worth it to save one or two people. And yeah, I just. These kinds of threads, they exhaust me. I mean, like I said, I'm not angry or anything. Um, yeah, even the person who misgendered me, I kind of just find that confusing and I guess a little funny. Um, but like, but it is exhausting to keep having to explain over and over and over, why I do something and why it's valid and why it's okay and why it's just as okay and just as necessary as the people that make YouTube content about Jehovah's Witnesses, or the people that um, host databases of files that were uh, taken from Jehovah's Witnesses, or people who, you know, they host homeless shelters for displaced Jehovah's Witnesses, or people who donate funds toward helping Jehovah's Witnesses that are leaving. Like it's all of it works together, and all of it is good. Any action taken toward getting people out of the cult that doesn't involve violence or um, intentionally trying to frighten people or anything like that, I think that's good. As long as you're not being violent, as long as you're not like vandalizing the Kingdom Hall, you know, what's the harm? You ultimately are doing something good at the end of the day. It I don't know. Like I said, it just gets exhausting trying to explain myself to people over and over again. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that for a little bit because um, mostly so that I can like work my way through my own thoughts on this. And tomorrow, I'll pop in there and pay them a visit, and maybe I'll talk to them about it a little. I hope that that they don't think I'm gonna go in there and yell at them. For some reason, people always uh, get the idea that I'm yelling at them online when I'm like trying to have a conversation with them. I'm autistic, and like I have a hard time like communicating with other people sometimes. Um, like sometimes it comes off the wrong way, and I don't mean for it to. I guess I just do it wrong. I don't know, but hopefully they don't see it that way, and they'll be willing to have a constructive conversation with me, because I think that I think that it's important that we all understand where each other are coming from. Yeah, I mean, I try to understand where they're coming from, and I do, to a degree, understand where they're coming from. Hopefully they'll be able to, you know, hopefully they'll be able to consider my viewpoints on things as well. Anyway, regardless, elsewhere, the reaction to the documentary seems to be positive, and people seem to be, you know, okay with what I've done in general. It's just that, this is like the first negative thing I've seen about it so far that wasn't in my own YouTube comment section. So that was interesting. I'm going to pop back over here to the comments now. Let's see here. Conditioned to be traumatized by criticism from Jehovah's Witness governing body / elders. All of us were conditioned to be that way. I've struggled with that too. I set my headset just to sound normal volume. My hall got shut down / disbanded, remodeled / HDTV'd a few times, lol. Yeah, well, get ready, because your hall's probably going to get sold. A lot of them are getting sold off. I think that's where everything's kind of headed. Selling them off and consolidating the congregations into one big fat congregation, and I don't see them stopping the Zoom meetings anytime soon. I mean, I've heard reports of some Kingdom Halls opening back up, but I haven't seen that personally in my area. But it's only one way for me to find out for sure. I got to get back to calling the halls, so I will be getting back on that next week. Got to give them calls and figure out what's going on and get the skinny on the JW grapevine. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what everybody else thinks about this. Um, my friends usually just tell me not to even care what other people think, but I don't know if that's a really super healthy. It's not healthy to care constantly about what other people think, and to make that your priority all the time and just be consumed by it. That's not healthy either. but it's also not healthy to completely disregard anything anybody else has to say about stuff because opinions do matter to a degree, like um, optics, perception. Those things those things have some bearing on everything. So it is important to consider what people think. I mean, that's how we that's literally how we help people wake up, is like we have to consider how Jehovah's Witnesses think. And that's another thing, is people who disagree with Kingdom Hall protests think that people like me don't understand how Jehovah's Witnesses think. I was a Jehovah's Witness. My entire family are witnesses, minus a very small handful of people on both sides. I'm a fourth generation born in, so yeah, I have a lot of experience with how witnesses think. It's, I'm not just like some, rando off the street that's never had experience with them, who's just, ramboing themselves into the Kingdom Hall and being like, all of you are assholes, and how dare you, abuse children, and like I don't do stuff like that. But that's kind of how people seem to seem to perceive me, and other activists who do this type of this type of protest. Um, it's gone. One is a house, one is a radio station now. Oh, poor thing. It's a cursed radio station now. It's got the Jehovah's Witness curse on it. Just kidding. Um, the one my grandparents' funeral was hosted at is now a local radio station. Oh, that sucks. I really don't like that they host funerals at the Kingdom Hall. It's really really weird. Uh, because then that makes it so that family who are estranged from Jehovah's Witnesses, like who are fading, or people who have been disfellowshipped, can't attend the funerals of the people that they love, and that's really horrible. Dang, I'm only third generation at that rate, but born in. Trying to skip the loaded language now. Yeah, I don't blame you. All right. Well, I mean, honestly, I don't think I have any more to really say about this than I already have. I mean, I might update y'all tomorrow if y'all want about what I end up saying in the thread. Um, hopefully it sparks a, like I said, hopefully it sparks a constructive conversation rather than them thinking that I'm just yelling at them, because apparently that's what they think I do in the Kingdom Hall too. That I just go in there to yell at people and be angry. When I go into the Kingdom Hall, sure, I'm upset, but what I'm doing is out of love and out of a deep, deep sadness. I lost my mother. Needlessly. There was no reason for her to die. And that happens to so many people. That's the really, really messed up part, is that my story is in no way unique. This happens all the time, and we'll never know how many times. And, I was also, like I said, I was also, um, victimized by the organization myself. So, yeah, of course I'm, upset, but it isn't mostly about that. It mostly comes from a place of love and deep, deep sadness and concern. Concern because, just like Cameron said in the documentary, I'm afraid that I won't be able to be there to protect somebody um, who's going to have the same things happen to them. I want to be able to protect people from having that happen. I want to do whatever I can, whatever's in my power, to make sure that what happened to me, what happened to my mother, doesn't happen to somebody else, because it doesn't have to. Um, but yeah. Alrighty. I'm gonna hop off here and go. well, probably go to sleep, actually, because it's very late, but um, I just wanted to get that stuff off my chest and work through my thought process on that. And if anybody had anything to say, listen to them about what they had to say as well. But it's very late, so I was not expecting anybody to be on here actually. But yeah, I might pop on tomorrow, hopefully at a better hour, hopefully, and let y'all know what I said um, to the people in that thread because I do want to respond to them. I want to have a constructive conversation with them, and hopefully they can see things from a different point of view. Let's see here. I was destined to keep it going on, but refused, and so glad I refused. Yes, just take the blood when needed, please. Yeah, yeah, that's what I want. I want people to think with their brains, um, without being clouded, without their judgment being clouded by undue influence. I want them to just use their use their humanity and go with that. Think for their own survival. Think for the survival of and well-being of their children, and not worry about how it's going to reflect on the organization or if it's going to piss the organization off. You know, so be it. Honestly. Um. All right. Well, I hope everybody um has a good night. And actually, I hope you're all already asleep if you live in the United States. If you live somewhere else where it's like daytime, I hope you have a good day. Thanks for hanging out if you did. And if you watch this later, thanks. If you have any comments that you want to leave, even if it's a dissenting view, as always, I welcome dissenting views. Go ahead and share them. All I ask is that, you don't resort to any like personal attacks because that's not really necessary. I'll listen to you. I'm not. I don't want to fight. I just want to discuss things. Um, but yeah, please take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.